In an age of skyrocketing divorce rates, is it really possible to make love last? Welcome to the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman, the well-known relationship experts and best-selling authors of The Marriage Map book. Each week, they share the latest information to help you enjoy your romantic partnerships so you can fall in love forever. Here are your hosts, Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman.
Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Grossman, and we're here to talk to you today about parenting, the requirements and abilities you need to develop to have parenting that will allow you to bring your intimate personal relationships closer together rather than creating it being more distant and problematic. Parenting is always a challenge. It's designed to be a challenge. It's supposed to be a challenge. But if you're working together as a team, then you'll find that it will bring you closer together as a couple.
So working as a team also has the advantage of teaching your children that there's a distinction in levels. Your child is not equal to you. They're a different generation and they need to be structured with rules and consequences and chores so that they be the skills to have to take care of their own space, to keep their body clean, to do their homework on time and be conscientious. And it's your job to teach them how to do that by having clearly defined expectations. We're talking about this because I've had a string of people about the situations at home. Parents are spending a lot more time with children lately, and it makes life hard. And I was speaking to a lovely woman today who was describing to me the differences between her sense of what's right with children and her partner's sense of what's right. And she's mystified why her husband feels certain things are so important to him. She believes in, conversation and negotiation and really hearing the concerns of the child, the opposition of the child to rules. And the husband is more traditional. He expects to have eye contact from a child when he speaks to them, and she's just thinks that's like medieval and cruel. And and what's notable about this kind of dynamic is that because these partners don't understand each other's sense of values, parenting their children are pushing them far apart, and they're not working together. So the children get mixed messages, and they learn how to maneuver and triangle with one partner and get better deals and have a favorite parent for a week or two to get a better deal, and that the whole dynamic just does not work for anybody. And so it's so important to get the big picture of what we're talking about. I believe that after the initial entry of a child to the family, where obviously breastfeeding or nurturing a child is paramount, and it works for the child. That's when the family is child focused for sure. A short time later, the child needs to learn a kind of a structure. It starts out with a routine for eating and a routine for sleeping, and eventually it needs to be defined in terms of the behavioral requirements appropriate to their age and your family situation. And so I ask parents to individually reflect and discuss with each other the rules that are appropriate for their children, so that after conversation they get together and get on the same page about the rules that are required that are age appropriate for each of their children. And they have and parents resolve their differences away from the children, and there's no better deal from another parent. The rules are the rules, the consequences are the consequences, and because it's structured, because you've talked about it, thought it through, the consequences are defined, and you have a list of chores where you hold them accountable because you show up and make sure it gets done. What happens is there is calm rationality in the house. And because there's no better deal, parents are aligned, so mom doesn't offer anything better than what dad offers, and you can execute the rules and have a calm, orderly house. And children know what's expected of them, and they know that, one of the rules I recommend for your household is speak respectfully to your parents. And if your child isn't prepared to speak respectfully, the conversation's over until a child can sort themselves out and get respectful. And a calm house is a good house for everybody. It allows people to have connection, good conversation, and play games, help with homework. There's lots of activities we do together as a family, perhaps some sports, but it eliminates all of that chaos that keeps people at odds with each other. And it promotes a marriage partnership.
And what's real critical is for the parents to be in control of what the rules are in the household. And the parents are a different generation than the kids. The parents are the bosses until the kids are on their own, they're living on their own, they can support themselves on their own. The parents are the bosses. And you have to create that generational gap to have the kids feel safe and taken care of. When you have a coach, whether it's in sports or whether it's in dancing or whether it's in some other hobby, a good coach is on a different level than the student. You need to have that coach be on that different level where you have respect for the coach. When they give you some instructions, you don't argue with your coach. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, that's not okay. Or no, you're wrong. I know better than you. Then that person is no longer your coach. They are no longer your coach. You may as well fire them. They're not any help to you anymore. A coach, by definition, has to be on that level where they're telling you knowledge and you're letting go of, oh, I know. You're saying, okay, I'll do what you say because you probably know more than I do. You have the example from that old movie, The Karate Kid. He's telling his karate young student, clean the car, go this way and go that way.
I remember wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off. And he does that for like weeks and weeks. And finally he says, I quit. This is a waste of time. You don't know what you're doing. I want to learn karate. And he says, you learned karate. Well, the kid said, I didn't learn anything. He says, really? Wax on. And he goes like this, and the kid pushes his arm away. And he goes like this. And it's like an automatic thing where he just pushes the arm away when the coach is trying to punch him with karate. So he's learned. He didn't know he was learning so many things. Parenting is like that. Your kids don't know what they know. They don't know what they don't know. And you have to teach them. Another example, you have a young child who's like 4 years old and they want that lollipop. They want it. They want it. And you say, no, you can't have a lollipop. It's time for dinner. There's no lollipops before dinner. I want it. And they go into a tantrum. They want a lollipop. Well, your job as a parent is to teach the child having a tantrum is not a way to be successful in this world. Having a tantrum gets you nowhere. Go into your room and have your tantrum. When you finish, come on out and then we'll eat dinner. And there's no lollipops now. And here's your child then having a tantrum, and they have to learn to control themselves. And then finally, when they're finished with a tantrum, they come down to you and they've got no value from the tantrum. They got no attention. They got no lollipop. And they've learned tantrums are not going to get them anything. It may take a whole bunch of time of doing that. The other option is to teach a child, oh, having a tantrum. Okay, here's a lollipop. I can't stand the tantrums. Then what happens? You have a 15 or 20-year-old child and you say, no, you can't do this. And then they're having a tantrum and they're stealing your car and they take money from your drawer and your wallet. And because they're having a tantrum, they're allowed to have what they want. So look what you're teaching them. You have to be their coaches as a parent. It's very important. You're going to teach your children things, and you're going to teach yourself things too. You want anything?
Yes, so part of is defining the rules that are important to you. And what makes that a project is that each of you as partners come from different families. So you're used to, a different parenting style perhaps. And, or perhaps you have a similar style and your reaction to it is different. I know when I started parenting, I thought my parents were very old school, very traditional. There was a lot of structure, a lot of rules. And I probably didn't appreciate that because I initiated a program of democracy when the children were young, where each child had their opinion, and it drove me crazy, frankly. But it felt like the correction to my history. It wasn't a correction at all, but the two of you need to talk about your histories and understand each other, and look to create a structure of rules and chores that make sense to your family. And it's a wonderful conversation to walk down memory lane and remember how it was to be a child in your family of origin, and how you felt about how your mom treated you or your dad treated you, and to bounce off each other and to sort out how you want to create your partnership in parenting, because you eventually have to get to the same set of rules and consequences. Speak with the same voice, you just have different mouths it comes from. So whether mom is there to execute the rules or dad is there, it's the same voice, the same rules, same consequences.
And it's real critical that you as parents maintain that level of being the coach. You're in charge of coaching. There's no arguing. You don't argue with your students. You just say, this is how it is. I'm the coach, and that's how it is. When you then leave my coach system and you're 21 or 18 and you're on your own, okay, then I don't need to coach you anymore. But right now, I'm your coach. I don't argue with my students. I tell them the way it is.
So we do make allowances. As the children get older and they're more sophisticated, they may come to you and say that they believe a rule isn't appropriate anymore, or it's unfair in some fashion. And there is an opportunity to whether the rule is appropriate at this time. The way you handle it is, it is definitely a partnership conversation first. You say, well, that's really interesting, your point of view. I'll take that up with your mom or your dad, and I'll get back to you. We'll see what we think about that. So you don't revise anything without your part of the process.
Now there's lots of different rules, consequences, and each family has to make their own. And there's a lot of different things we can discuss and go through that. We actually have a series of classes on parenting, and we invite you to go on our website, themarriagemap.com, and go there and send us a message if you're interested in being a part of that class. We have a online class that we teach on parenting. We're going to teach a bunch of other classes too online, but this is one that you can certainly be a part of. I'm happy to have you do it. So just let us know if you're interested. And we invite you to go on themarriagemap.com and look at our courses that we have on marriage and teaching you skills. There are so many skills to learn to make a marriage work where you're falling in love more and more intimately over the years. I am blessed with being married to Dr. Barbara here for 48 years or so, and you get to feel more and more in love when you do it right. It becomes very intense. And doing it right means having the skills to talk to each other, share with each other, having the skills to parent, having the skills in many different areas to each other feel like you're number one and to feel closer and intimate to each other. So do go to our website. We look forward to hearing from you. And it's been a pleasure. You want to say anything before we go, Maria?
Just wishing you love and happy family life.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Bye now.
Thank you for watching the Falling in Love Forever show with Doctors Barbara and Michael Grossman. Join us next week for another informative discussion to help you keep your love alive. Be sure to visit us at themarriagemap.com or find out about our relationship classes at fallinginloveforever.com.